Hi everybody, I am speaking with Sally today, who is the founder of Sensitive Matters, and they create the most incredible books, personalised books that you can make with your children or during your journey to help talk about non-traditional paths. Amazing for anyone who's going through donor conception, thinking about donor conception. Hello, how are you?
Hello, we got it to work. Hi, Ellie.
Yes, brilliant. I was just introducing you, but you may as well introduce yourself, so please do, and then we can talk about how to talk to donor conceived children and the tools that you can use and the conversations you can have to do so.
Okay. Well, I'm Sally Odendahl. I'm the founder of Sensitive Matters, which produces customized books for talking to children about donor conception, surrogacy, or adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my son via an egg donor and a gestational surrogate in 2017. And I had always intended to be honest with him from very young, because I'd read lots of literature, and it was clear to me that that was the route that was important to go down.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find a book at the time that would tell the whole story, the story of both the gestational surrogate and the egg donor. So I created a book myself, but I also realized that there wasn't anything on the market that was customizable, that you could make really your own. So my husband and I invested some money and some software, and we created the Magic of You. So the Magic of You is effectively on a web to print platform, so you really create your own book. That's the key thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, let's talk about how to talk to kids. One of my favorite subjects.
So actually, we did a poll yesterday with you guys, and we asked, how do you feel about having donor conceived children? Those who are, going down that route. How do you feel about talking to your children to be, or children if you've already got them? We do have lots of followers who do have donor conceived children, or they've been through surrogacy or whatever non-traditional route to parenthood. And a lot of people, more so than less, felt nervous about having those conversations with their children. I've got 3 sperm donor conceived children. I'm sure many people know that. And my husband and I have always both sort of agreed that we wanted to pick an open donor, and we wanted to start having these conversations with our children from very, very young, which we have been doing. But and it's sort of, I think we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? It's a little bit easier with more practice, and the more you get natural and comfortable doing it. But you raised a really good point with me earlier. You said that children don't really talk back to you about things, do they, at that age, because they're not there mentally in terms of understanding about the genetics. So it can be a really fun story to tell. And you've gifted me a Sensitive Matters, the magic of, for each of my children. And I do have a set of twins, and they have their own copy each. And I'm not kidding, they adore them, to the point where we went away. Someone said, what's the topic for today? It's talking to donor conceived children about their beginnings. And we went away at the weekend, and they wanted to bring the books with them. So we read them whilst we were away, and they asked for them literally every night, saying, can you read me the magic book? And they loved them because they're personalised in a way where we've dropped in the photos ourselves, we've chosen the colours ourselves. We have, well, I made them with my eldest child, and so she was very much a part of that, which really excited her because it's something that we did together. So I'd love to know your perception of talking to your son about surrogacy and egg donation.
Yeah, so that is the good news for people who are considering this and who are worried about how am I going to talk about this, because actually it can be, something that you worry about. It can be something that you think, am I going to be rejected? And always something that you can easily put off because life gets in the way and you mean to, but you don't really know how to do it. And the good news is that if you tell them and you start when they're really young, it's really, really easy, because they don't have a great deal of they don't talk back to you at that age, and but they have an amazing ability to absorb things and just incorporate them into their beings. um, there are lots of books available for talking to kids, and books are a great way to start. The good thing about our books, of course, is because they customize, and there's photos of the children, and there's photos of them when they were born, or them as embryos, and there's photos of people that they love, or in the Avatar book, the characters look like them as cartoons. They engage in the story, even though it may be a little above their heads, because they can see people they love, they can see themselves. So they engage in it, and as you found, they really, really like it. And Max is the same. He will, he still say to me, "Oh, I want to read The Magic of Max tonight." That's
Yeah.
his bedtime story. And it's as you found, the stories are very factual. They're very fact-based. It's this is how you make a baby. This is a baby grows, and you need an egg and a sperm. Mum and dad, or mum and mum, or whatever, had trouble, or we needed to go and see a fertility counselor. So it's very factual, but they engage in it so much, because it's personalized and customized. So, and that's the good news. If you start young, it's easy. It's not difficult.
But what I found with this book, from having done it ourselves and made it ourselves online, first of all, it's very quick and easy. And second of all, we were able to tweak the copy. So there were some things that I didn't feel, there are some, when I've read books previously, and I've had this conversation on a podcast recently with a donor conceived adult who also has donor conceived children. When I have read some other books, which are good books about donor conception, they're not personalised, and the narrative is the words that they have in the book. So I find myself changing what I'm saying to fit in with how comfortable I feel. So, for example, I might use the word seeds instead of sperm.
Exactly.
So what I did when I customised the books through Sensitive Matters and The Magic of You was I tweaked the language to what I felt comfortable saying to them, and also made it a really personal story. So I'd say we took an aeroplane to New York, we were there over Christmas, and it was stormy, here's a picture of us in the snow, that kind of thing, where it really showed the whole journey, so that when they go through them, they sort of understand the story a bit better. And also there are images to go with that are of us and of the people that came out with us to support us during the treatment. So I enjoy reading them. My husband does too, and I think that's really special. And I said to you earlier, it's quite sweet, but on one of the pages there are two embryos, and I have twins, and they always fight over whether the bigger embryo was them or not.
I love this.
Yeah, so there's
yes,
I was
you
the big
don't
one.
know.
No, I was the big one. Yeah, it's very sweet. So I think that you're right. And I also, like, my perspective of telling the children is little and often, a bit like reading to children or getting children to read. Like, don't worry that it needs to be all the time and for a long time, like a long period of time. I just try and do it a little bit here and there where it feels natural rather than forced.
Yes. And the other key thing about starting really early, is that if you start really early, when they're babies, actually, you start rehearsing the whole thing and becoming comfortable with the telling of it yourself, so that by the time you actually do start telling them, even when they're two, you've got it out, you've said it aloud. It's not difficult anymore. And actually now I would feel quite comfortable saying to my son, "Oh, you're really good at that. I wonder if it's my donor that gave you that skill," because actually the conversation evolves, and it's all about becoming comfortable with it yourself, and feeling proud of the way you had your child and embracing it. Because if you aren't awkward with it and you're comfortable with it, they will be too.
Definitely. And what I think is great about what you do at Sensitive Matters, as well as these wonderful personalised digital books, is the fact that when you're thinking about the language that you put into the books and the narrative that people can then adapt and make personalised, is you have conversations with people in the community. So not just people who are prospective parents, intended parents, and also people who have children via different routes, but also people who are donor conceived themselves. So
Yeah.
what findings have you found from speaking to the wider community?
Well, there are some key messages that come out of the donor conceived community, and those are things that we're still learning, and we're still developing our friends online in that community. But one of the things that we have found is, you know, you need to be a little careful about telling children that they're really, really special, and that you tried really hard to have them, because obviously you love them and you want them to know that, but that can actually place quite a lot of pressure on the child. And as they grow up, it makes them feel like they have to be perfect because you went to all this effort to have them. So, you know, you've got to be careful to say to them, you are special, but nobody's perfect, and we don't expect you to be perfect. So it's tempering that. And, you know, I would recommend to anybody who's considering having a child by donor conception to have a look at and reach out to the donor conceived community, find them, see what they say, because they've got a lot of knowledge to impart. And mainly the people that are online are people who found out late, and so their worlds came crashing down. Can you imagine when you find out as a you know, as an adult, that the identity that you thought was your identity is not your identity? So they have a lot of advice about what you should do and what is helpful, and they're important to listen to, because actually they are our future children. These, you know, these are what our children will be, and we want them to feel comfortable and confident, and not have, you know, and confident about the way they came about. I think is the important thing.
Could you please show us a copy of the 2 different types of books that people can make online? I don't have my copy here, but I know you do.
No problem. So there are 2 versions of the Magic of You. One is an avatar version, and basically you would enter, you take a photograph, upload it, we cut the head out, we cartoonize it, and then we stick it onto the illustrations, and then we sample the skin color from your face, so we can color in the illustrations with the right skin tone. So that's an illustration how it would look with our avatars. And again, you can customize the text, so the text you can edit.
So this is yours to your son, isn't it?
Yes, so this is Max's book, so that's my avatar, and that's another page, basically. And these are lovely illustrations by another parent of a donor conceived child, Fiona McPherson. So that's that book, and the words are completely customizable. The other thing with this is we offer a free service to help create fantastic avatars, because you really need to make sure that you've got good photographs, and the photographs are done well. But we have a free service to help do that.
That's good.
Then we've got a photo version, which is easy peasy to create.
So these are the ones that I've got, and I did them probably in, I don't know, 20 minutes, and that was three variants of them. So I love doing it.
So Eloise, as you pointed out, you know, there are I think of this photo version, I think there are 36 story versions. So we've tried to think of every possible scenario. So we've got with some mums and dads, mums, dads, single mums, single dads, and then every type of possible way to conceive we've tried to think of. So there is a default story in the book that you choose that's closest to your story. However, all the words are editable. You can change all the words, and all the clip art is editable too. You can delete it, you can make it bigger, you can move it, you can swap it around, you can move it to other pages if you want to, or you could literally drag in your photos and check out, and that's it.
Okay.
So that's for example another page with a photo, and that's Max's fantastic gestational surrogate.
Amazing. And so does he talk to his friends at school about it, or is he too young?
I think he's too little. So I don't think they started yet, but I think next year, when he's in year 1, I think they start doing relationship and sex education. And I think that's probably when they start learning how babies come about. I think that's probably when his advanced knowledge of how babies are made will come about, because often you find donor conceived children know a lot about how babies are made, because if you talk to them early, they know that babies come from an egg and a sperm, and that they have to grow in a woman's uterus. So he hasn't yet, and he hasn't started asking awkward questions yet, but he's not yet 5. But I expect that this is just the beginning of the journey, and of course you just carry on talking to them. As you said, it's little and often the conversation goes on, and it would, the questions would get harder the older they get, or the questions would be more probing. I don't suppose they're harder. They're not harder. They'd be more
yeah,
more in-depth questions.
Yeah,
the older they get. But if you've opened up that door and you've made it open, it's not going to be difficult to talk about.
Someone's just raised a really good point. They say, do you think it's a good idea to include a small photo of the donor in the book? I have no idea when it's the right time to show my future child how the donor looks like. Now, that's really interesting you said that, and I forgot to say that. But in the ones that I have personalised, I've done a whole page of, I say a whole page, we have 3 images of our sperm donor as a child, and I've included each of those. So it's the first time my children saw them there as well. And actually, when my father-in-law was reading the book to them at the weekend, he got to that page and it was the first time he saw the donor too. So it can be a really good way of educating the family as well, and sort of showing them how you're doing it, and the terminology that you're using. So for me, I wanted to, and for you, you've included your surrogate. So I guess it's like, because they're personalized, it's completely whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and my husband sometimes finds it difficult going over that page, but he's getting used to it now. So we talk about the kind man who gave us his seeds, etc. But yeah, you're offering our readers a nice discount, aren't you? I can't remember the code off the top of my head, but
I think it might be FHH 15, I think.
Okay, for 15% off.
Yeah.
But I would strongly recommend for anyone who has donor conceived children or has used a surrogate or adoption, whatever journey, checking them out. So what I'll do is I'll link up the bio. The link in bio will go to an article which we've just written together, which is all about me making the books. Someone said they're going to go and buy it. Honestly, it's the best book I have in the house. I need to double check the code, but we think it's FHH15, and I'll put the link in now. So in that article, you'll be able to read how I customize mine. And there's a picture of me doing it with my daughter. And then you'll be able to read more about them, and it will take you through to Sensitive Matters website, where you can do it in your own pace. FHH15, 15% off.
FH15, yes.
And also, the other thing that I really liked about it was the fact that time is an issue for everyone, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
And so don't be put off that it's going to take a long time, because it's not. And also, you can save it and come back to it, can't you? So
that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Dip in and out. But yeah, I strongly suggest people do. So thank you so much, Sally. And the lady who's going to go and buy it, I hope you enjoy it. So
and I'm glad that you like the gift certificate. My business partner will be thrilled.
Oh, well, no, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And for anyone who's missed it, they can watch it back now. But thank you so much, Sally. Is there anything you want to end on?
No, all I would say is, make sure you tell them young, because it's the easiest way to go. And a story is a great way to start.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And for all you do with the community and getting these voices out there. I love it. I love hearing different opinions. And it's
likewise.
Good to hear all those opinions. Anyway.
Likewise, Eloise. I love your posts.
Thank you. Thank you for those who have joined. We'll speak soon.
Right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.